you're probably still breathing. Listeners, you may want to sit down because what we saw at the Aircraft Club's tennis center isn't just tennis. A seismic event occurs, changes are afoot in women's tennis. The epicenter is in the UAE. The headline, "Tonight is simple, but the plot is complex." All of Dubai is surprised. The tennis community is stunned. Alexandra Eala, the glory of the Philippines and the tenacious WTA tour combatant, has loudly, clearly, and ringingly communicated to all detractors, doubters, and players in the locker with the top-ranking space. 3 words make up the message: I'm incomplete. We are in real time from the duty-free tennis championships in Dubai. A championship famed for its beauty, its glitz with its rough, brutal hard courts, one of the treasures of the swing in the Middle East. It's where the greatest in the globe to firmly establish their supremacy. Historically, it is not a location for miracles. It's hardly a location where a young, promising 20-year-old, away from a demanding schedule and a heartbreaking departure in Doha a few days ago, is expected to take down a monster. However, the script wasn't merely reversed tonight. It was torn up. Let us construct the circumstance. When landing in Dubai, the story of Alex Eala was a cautiously optimistic person. Combined with exhaustion, we are conscious of the backdrop. Last time we watched her genius in Abu Dhabi week, that stunning return versus Sasnovich. Making it to the quarterfinals, it enabled her climb into the top 40 of for the first time in the world rankings in the past. We rejoiced over that. However, once Qatar arrived, the tiredness arrived. The setback in the round against Teresa, Valento 64 in Doha, was a wake-up call. The murmurs began. They were heard by you. I heard them. She's exhausted the center. She can't withstand the weight of the East swing. She's finished for the month this evening. Ella Alex took those murmurs and put an end to them with a forehand that appeared to be blasted out of a cannon. Playing against a single one of the tournament's best players. With additional titles, expertise, and Ella, a higher seed, did more than merely survive. She flourished. This was no simple task. It was a war. For 3 hours and 12 minutes, the duty-free tennis tournament in Dubai, a cauldron was made out of the stadium of sound, stress, and undiluted pure drama. Ella was seen down a set. We noticed her during a pause in the second. We witnessed a person's body language, player who ought to have made a travel to Indian Wells. However, then something took place. A spark, a change in the eyes, the mindset of not being finished yet. That's what this headline shouts. It wasn't only a catchphrase, it was a strategic turnaround. Ella started to penetrate under the baseline with unusual vigor back when she was a junior in the US Open. She began looking for angles that fit the geometry says that it shouldn't exist. She came together from the point of failure to compel, a decider. Additionally, in the third set, she played more than simply tennis. She carried out a grim symphony. The Filipino audience, the unsung heartbeat of thousands of individuals of this competition, burst. Each point there was a roar of victory. Each point that was lost was an all of us gasped. Less like an away game that is more akin to a home game in Manila. Isa closed. After riding the wave, take it out. She shut it down in fantastic, stunning attire. This triumph is remarkable for 3 reasons. Principle produces initially the ranking effects. Moving forward here, she presses and argues the premise she needs, to moving closer to the ideal top 30 seed bracket. Second, having the mental toughness to recover from the disappointment in Doha so swiftly to wipe a loss's memory, then switch it out with a career-defining win indicates a degree of maturity way above her 20 years. Thirdly, the statement that contributes to the tour. The duty-free WTA 10,000 level championships are held occasion. These are the biggest leagues. Gaining an advantage, this isn't good fortune. It is a remark that Alex Eala should be discussing not as a current as well as a future star risk. So, buckle your seatbelt. For the next hour, we're going to break down this game shot by shot. We will investigate the biomechanics, psychology, and raw feeling of the evening. We'll study the manner in which she neutralized the service, how she dealt with her personal tiredness, and why the particular victory could be the decisive moment that marks her in 2026 season. Dubai is stunned. The attraction is exploded. Additionally, Alexandra Eala is positioned in the middle of the court, arms extended, indicating to the world that she is only beginning. This is a profound plunge. To completely appreciate the gravity of tonight's events, we can't merely take a glance at the final score. The outcome is a summary. It was a new match. We must return to the beginning spot before to the they even. Hit the first ball. We must comprehend the climate and the swing in the Middle East's physical toll. Duty-free tennis championships in Dubai is a particular kind of animal. The surface of the court is notorious for playing rapidly, truly quick. The air in the desert is thin and the ball flies. For a participant such as Ella, who has been growing more confrontational, Rafa Nadal's game of flat-hitting academy, in principle, this ought to be in benefit. However, speed is reciprocal. When playing at a Heil foe, a potent attacker who enjoys dictate play, you may be rushed by that speed. It may interfere with your preparation time. When nighttime approached, Ella's camp was silent. No daring forecasts were made. The Doha defeat was new. Physical, one real component is tiredness. Recall that she went deep when playing doubles in Abu Dhabi there in singles, then went to played in Qatar and is currently back in the UAE. That's quite a few airline miles and a large amount of court time over 2 weeks. That was clear during today's warm-up. People saw that she was taping her left side. She walked with a heavy gait while practicing that the story was formed. She is at risk. Her enemy was aware of this. It was visible to you. In the earliest meetings, the plan against Ella was evident. Take her to the max, make her go from side to side, test the legs, and take advantage of that weariness. Also inside, the first 45 minutes that the strategy was flawless. The game, Ella served first, and soon away there was pressure. Her opening serve the ratio was roughly 45% in the first set. This is way too low level. When your initial serve is missed in Dubai, the comeback is as certain as rocket. Isa was on the back all the time foot. Her opponent was observed stepping, moving the ball within the baseline early, and penalizing the second serve of Isa. They attempted to counterattack, but her timing was incorrect. Was a little odd. The inadvertent blunders were mounting. Long, sailing forehands, catching the tape with backhands. It was a classic indication of a player whose thoughts are willing, but whose body is simply not keeping up with less than a second behind. The throng attempted to raise her. You could hear the prospect of "Let's go, Alex" reverberating from the tiers in the upper half. However, tennis is a sport of loneliness when you're down 0-3 followed by 1-4. The court believes the size of the net, and a football field is Loazo cipher set 2-10 FT6. It was more than simply a defeat. It was a breaking down. She hardly received 30% of her. She hit 0 winners in service points. The atmosphere in the commentary box was solemn. It appeared to be a repetition of the Doha departure. A petrol tank, despite a tremendous attempt, operates without power. What occurs in the between sets thinking of a champion? This is the game of invisibleness. Isa used the restroom break. She walked out of the courtroom. The match took place in the 3-nut window. 1. She didn't return in a panic. She didn't try to hit when she returned. More strongly, she returned with a distinct calibration. We frequently chat regarding the doll school and Ella's rough ears. Where DNA emerges, it's not only pertaining to the lefty forehand. Regarding the unwillingness to accept the existing actuality, she returned to the court. Her visor was adjusted and you could see affirmations and her chatting to herself. The neuropathways are reset. Ella changed as the second set started. Strategies. During the initial set, she was aiming to equal the strength of her opponent. She was losing the slugfest. In the second set, she introduced diversity. She began chopping into these fast Dubai courts. A slice that is low and sharp skids makes the enemy bow their knees in order to generate their own tempo. It interferes with the beat. Ella started slicing her off. Backhand wing, lowering the speed of the point, enabling her time to regroup from the middle of the court. The winner was 3-3, then 2-2. It was an altercation. The enemy, angered by the shift in speed, began to impose pressure. The accidental mistake swapped sides. Ella, at 4-3, he broke serve. A large she chased down a drop shot throughout the game. That seems to be impossible was the moment when the stadium's enthusiasm, when she made the passing shot things. Shifted in order to assure the break, she yelled, pumping her fist, the not completed, yet the spirit was waking up. It's never easy to close a set serving at Isa, facing 2 breaks at 5 or 4. At these instances, the evolution of her service as the major emphasis of her 2025 training throughout the off-season paid dividends. She elected not to use a safe kick serve, went down the T-flat, courageous, daring ace-deuce. She held the line. We were meant to make a decision at 6-4. This match's third set will go considered as one of the best tennis sets ever. Done by Alexandra Eala. It wasn't merely amazing with a lot of drama. The two players were worn out. The air was more humid and the clothes were drenched. This developed into a test to discover who wanted more and who could carry out the execution, under tremendous physiological hardship. Exchanged early breaks 1.1 and 2.2. Then calamity happened and Ella was in the fifth game. She broke at love. 2-4 was the opponent's consolidation score. Was deep in the third set down a break against a professional athlete. The conclusion: her opponent could see her line. Shock seems to be subsiding, but this is where tonight's story's title comes from. Enters the game not yet complete. At 2, Isa waited on the changeover bench until 4. She raised her gaze to the TV at her box and she rose in front of as the umpire blew the whistle. She walked to the baseline and she ceased to fade. Specifically during the following 20 minutes, Alexandra Eala changed into a backboard, began focusing on her opponents aggressively from the backhand corner. She used out to pull her opponent wide, she used a lefty spin, establishing the court, and then quickly stretching the forehand flat down the line. It's a blueprint for adults, but adjusted to meet the women's tournament. She broke 4-4 in the stadium. The Filipino expat was trembling. Dubai community recognized for their fantastic assistance, which made the duty-free turning a tennis stadium into a fun fair. Drums, flags waving, and cheers. The sound was loud. Her opponent was definitely disturbed at 30. Double faulted by the environment in the 9th game to 30. Ella sensed she broke again. 5-4. Blood match service. Match service of this size is the most challenging thing. Your arm feels heavy when performing sports. It feels like your racket weight's 50 lb. Your heart is beating in your throat. Began with an error followed by a cautious, her opponent blasted the second serve. 0-15 and a lengthy resurgence finished. Within 15-15, another error, 15 ELA winner, 30-30 an ace. The match point arrived. Ella served wide at 40-30. Her opponent returned it in depth. Ella took a step back, wrapped up the forehand of that lefty, and launched an angle on the cross-court that was merely brave. The ball dropped, kicked out. After catching the sideline, set, match, game, and a response, was Isa dropped her racket and hands in an instant. On her head, an expression of absolute incredulity that instantly converted to happiness. She raced to the internet, a cordial handshake, and then waved toward the throng to the earth. Now that I'm here, let's look into this shock's explanation statistics. Points won for the second serve, Ella won 30% of the set. And in the third set, she won 68%. That's a significant amount. Champion, she concealed her vulnerability and created it a neutralizer. Net approaches. Ella scored 14 goals and won 12 of those in the last set. She didn't wait for her opponent to score points. To overlook, she snatched the match away from her hands. The decisive ingredient. She saved 7 out of 10 break points encountered. When things got rough, she did her best. Tennis. This triumph is unexpected due to the moment following the defeat in Doha. Anticipated a decline, but we experienced an increase instead. The opponent is the reason it is startling. It was believed that this player will make the semi-finals. It is shocking owing to the manner a set results in winning sad, seeming physically fatigued, and uncovering a second victory that was just spectacular beyond the arena. How does this affect the competition? The lower section of the draw is now open, and Ella has taken Ella's seat. Her trip to the quarterfinals, a seed, even as it's still challenging, is suddenly clear. What does this indicate for her ranking? We know she hit number 40 in the globe Monday. This triumph validates that it argues for a point she has to express and adds a bit more. We're evaluating a probable climb to the top 35 if she wins another round. But after this has to do with reputation, math, conversations in the locker room. When you're a young player, perhaps you want to be regarded, perhaps slightly apprehensive. You want rivals. Should think when you see your name in the draw, oh no, this is going to be a long day. Alex Eala deserves that terror tonight. Demonstrated that she is capable of winning ugly. She proved she could conquer even when she was fatigued, that the Abu Dhabi miracle wasn't it was an anomaly. The duty-free in the past tournaments have crowned new monarchs. We've observed Venus Henan Halip rules the set tonight. Court Akisan City Girl underwent instruction in Yorkga. Mayor performing for the Philippines submitted her name into a drawing. The title claims that Dubai as a whole was shocked. Indeed, the commentators are taken aback. Bookmakers are surprised. Yet, witnessing the expression on Alex's face after the game interview, eyes gleaming, sweat streaming, grin hugely, I don't believe she is startled. I assume she anticipated this. And the most risky part of all is that the center court's lights are going down. The cleaners are sweeping here in Dubai, wiping away the night's confetti that we won't fast forget. However, in the players' lounge already, Alexandra Eala is becoming more composed. She has already started drinking water, discussing the impending event with her coach's match, since that is the true situation of the shock worn in professional tennis. Off the thrill of exhilaration subsides, and tomorrow you must redo the entire process. Even while winning is huge, it's only one step. The headline is not yet complete. Is a two-edged sword nevertheless, since the competition is still ongoing. The season is still young, and Isa has created her a target right now. Her opponent won't undervalue her. There won't be anything unusual in the future round. She will confront a ready enemy that is hungry and wants to be the one to prevent the Eala mania. However, if anything tonight proved to us, it's that in the flames, Alex Eala flourishes. She has the heavy lefty spin in the game, the augmentation of serve, the world-class court coverage, but above everything else, she has a Filipino heart, the puso that continues to beat to the end. It's time for the fans to return. When the Philippines learned about this is your win, so rejoice. Additionally, for the supporters in Dubai who rest your soul, hoarse, they screamed themselves, voices, you will require them for the following round. So what comes next here? We witness the recuperation. Is she heal physically for the upcoming match in 48 hours? Is she able to keep this up? Intensity level. If she is able to, we are not only watching a sudden disruption, are expected a lengthy tournament run, are contemplating a possible semi-finalist, is an event for WTA 1000, the Dubai duty-free. The tennis championships are barely getting begun, but already Alexandra Eala has provided its key time. She arrived, she saw, she endured, and she prevailed. Rankings will be updated, the highlight reels will spin, but the statement stands. Alex Eala has not yet completed. She's actually just warming up from Dubai, capturing a momentous evening. And this has been your in-depth analysis of Hysteria Analysis. Pay attention to the draw and continue to believe in the underdog. Let's see what occurs tomorrow.